Listen, a very good day after evening to whatever you're catching the airwaves of Sara Rights TV live from. We'd like to say thanks so much for always being part of the sports analysis right here. It's actually evening right here in Airways City, wherever you could be getting the signals of Sara Rights TV from. I would like to say thanks so much for always being part of the show. Remember, this show is always brought to you by one of the biggest partners we have got on board. We have got Sabirima Global Actual Ventures Limited is one of the institutions that kind of bank their money here. Hugely in there. We also do have got Baiti Jamal's designs in there. So all these are kind of actual NGOs or organizations. They're the ones sponsoring this beautiful show in here. A couple of sporting stories to be talked about. Remember, there are a couple of stories making headlines actually within Western and SC Villa, as usual, have got one of the biggest actually talking points in Uganda currently. Remember, we talked about SC Villa yesterday actually at length. They did say that without actually a foreign coach, there will be no coach for them. Probably, which coach is in for SC Villa is what actually I'll be unleashing for you. But let's first actually get the source that. Remember, today I'm alone for the show. My usual guys are kind of taking up somewhere today. I'm alone for the show, but I'll be trying my level best that I'll give you one of the biggest actually information. So, regardless actually of their absence right in here. Remember, let's first get the source local here. They're one of the biggest actual stories linking headline, actually making headlines this evening. Tells us that a player in the names of Yakini Rashid and Andama Jr., one of the players being linked to South Sudan. And remember, Team Calvary Football Club is also talking about their surges. Remember, Team Calvary Football Club made their way through to the Stars of Ghana Premier League, making us very proud to see that the team goes to the Stars of Ghana Premier League. It's the only team in Western Nigeria that will be played actually in the Stars of Ghana Premier League, that actually a league that matters to all Ugandans. Remember, the fracas that are happening right now at FIFA House. Remember, FIFA has not paid clubs actually for their for their prize money for the season 2023-2024. We are still unaware whether Vipers, who were crowned champions for the season 2024-2025 season, have also got their money. We are still following the stories closely in there, but the reality is Andama Jr., who has been a player with Calvary Football Club for a longer period of time, is also being linked with the club. Remember, they will be playing their trade actually in the Southern Ghana Premier League, like I said earlier. One of the players who has been so loyal actually in Western football, I'm talking about Yakini Rashid. His contract with the Black Football Club has come to an end. So as well, we might see Yakini Rashid also making amends, and he will be crossing actually to either a team in the names of Qatar FC down in South Sudan with Andama Jr., or else they will be staying put with Western base club. That's Calvary Football Club for you. To me, all these players, these are good actual talented players we have got in Western, and I was looking at them, showing actually their love actually for their home side in there. If at all they want to look for a greener pasture, to me, there should be a team. There should be playing for a team in the names of Calvary Football Club that looks a little bit organized in there in terms of every actual aspect. Remember, Calvary Football Club is the only club actually in the sometimes actually in Ghana football that do bet their players timely in there. There's no player that of Calvary who has come out to the board to say that they have not been paid. Even if Calvary goes like 3 months, minus paying all these players, you see, at the end of the day, you'll find that the team Calvary Football Club will always come on board and pay all these actual players in there. It will be a Jewish deal if Team Calvary Football Club, actually with the structure that they have got at their disposal right now, with the ambition that they have got, if they could go for an experienced player in the names of Yakini Rashid or as Andama Jr., it could boost the squad of Team Calvary Football Club for you in there. Remember, playing in the Southern Uganda Premier League needs a lot of experience. So if you don't have that experience, probably they may be actually struggling a little bit in there. But it matters is the maiden season in the Southern Uganda Premier League. But I think Team Calvary Football Club needs to add a lot of actually experienced players in that team of theirs to boost it up such that the team remains longer in the Southern Uganda Premier League. We've seen clubs here actually in Western who go into the Southern Uganda Premier League, but at the end of the day, they kind of struggle. Remember, it's only on the Football Club who kind of tried it a little bit longer in the Southern Uganda Premier League. 7 seasons in the Southern Ghana Premier League is not an easy thing actually for a team in based in West Nile. So Ontupraka has actually made West Nile very proud before they were relegated to the Better Football Big like 2 seasons ago. But I think Calvary Football Club, the strikers that they are having at their disposal, I think they may be a good side to see that they make West Nile proud, and they keep actually making headlines to see that they remain in the league. Remember, the Black Angels as well tried actually in the maiden season, they were relegated back to sometimes actually to better for big league, which was quite actually unfortunate. I remember team by the Black Angels quite dropped up to the third tier of Ghana football, actually of Ghana football, but again they made their way through, and they are alive now. In what we call the better football big league. Remember, they finished sixth actually in a good position. They were almost craving actually for that promotion to the Southern Ghana Premier League, but things didn't go actually on their way. Remember, they did succumb to actually one of the biggest upsets at Barakoro City, whereby they lost the game by a goal to nil. Then again, Calvary also did pile more misery on them by beating them by a goal to nil in there. But all in all, there have been links about Andama Junior being, Andama Junior and Yakini Rashid being linked to the Calvary Football Club, and at the same time Qatar of FC South Sudan in there. But FC Qatar is one of the teams that will be actually representing South Sudan in the what's called CAF Confederation Cup. Remember, that is the Europa League of African football. So they will be actually playing in the preliminaries. So in case they make it their way through, probably you may be seeing them play in the CAF Confederation Cup much as the Europa League. And I will talk about one of the biggest stories making headlines again here in West Nile. Remember, Team Nebisende Football Club played against a team in the names of Young Elephants Academy down in Noya. Remember, the first league, Team Nebisende Football Club actually did pick one of the biggest actual wins in there. They did beat Young Elephants by a goal to nil at River Grounds out down in Nebi. They had one of the excellent performances in the matches. The team in the names of Young Elephants Academy, actually, with the academy set up, they did put up a resilient fight, and matches, they lost the first game at Blue Ground by a goal to nil. The reverse victor did see that team, actually, Young Elephants did actually beat a team in the names of Nation Football Club by 3 goals to 1. Remember, in this game, a lot of fracas this happened. Matches team actually the Football Club lost the game. Remember, down in Noya, there were a lot of fracas that happened in this game, and team the Football Club is not trying to petition Team Young Elephant Academy by filling in 3 eligible players who are not currently licensed with the team. I think the decision is now up to the Western FA to see that Team Nebisende Football Club is helped out of this situation to see that the team goes through to the better for Begili. In case Nebi successfully wins that petition, definitely we shall be seeing Team Nebisende Football Club playing in better football beginning next season. But we are still uncertain whether the team will be winning that petition, because we have not got actually authentic information from the side of Young Elephants. But we hope we shall be giving you all the information that you need. But according to the information I got from Frank Roger, one of the insiders at the Nebisende Football Club, this afternoon, he did tell me that the team is actually in the moods of actually, they've already petitioned the team, Young Elephants already. I remember there were ugly scenes. I'm told the players of, the fans of Young Elephants came into the pitch with the pangas, with bows. I don't know what kind of after stuff was that into that game, but it was kind of a little bit of an upset to see that a team in the names of Young Elephants actually did pose some of the awful scenes in football. You can't go. Football is a game that unites everyone actually in the universe, and there's no doubt that you go into such kind of games with such kind of actually what we call thing that can harm someone's life. You go with the panga, you go with the actually stakes out into the pitch to threaten the fan base. You can really see that the team actually Nebisende Football Club were kind of frustrated by Team Young Elephants Academy to see that they lost the game. So if all that was the plan, then why did they fill in 3 eligible players who are currently not actually licensed? Remember, I'm told Team Young Elephants Academy went in to pick players from Soroti, There were some players that they picked from DRC Congo. So we had to actually investigating the story, but we shall give you what we call authentic information regarding what we call this actual information. Maybe send football club petition and team Young Elephants Academy in there. In case Nebi wins the petition, definitely they will be representing actually us in what we call the bed power FIFA Big League next season. So we are waiting for the decision from the FA, from the Western FA, and at the same time from the FIFA House to see that all this come to help in there. So we shall be actually waiting. In case the Young Elephants win the petition, yes, we shall be proud for them. In case Navy also wins the petition, we shall always will be so proud of them to see that the team goes to the next. One of the biggest actual stories coming up actually in Western indicates that the team called the Zonal League. So this Zonal League will be taking place down in Juman. I think the schools are preparing here in Arua. I'm seeing St. Mary's seriously preparing, Arua Estate preparing. So St. George's College but also preparing, Vara Estate preparing, Morigazo as well. All the schools are preparing, and we shall be waiting to see how they will be performing actually in what we call the zonals down in Juman. The people of Juman, I know the weather is very hot in Juman because remember, River Nile is so close to Juman, so the weather that side is so hot in there. But I don't know how the people here who will be traveling from Malata, who will be traveling from Paida Koboko, will be acclimatizing to the weather down in Juman. Remember, the weather is so hot, hot in there down in Juman. That's what I can be important to tell you regarding what we call the zonals that will be taking place in the ball game 2. That's in the second, in the secondary after the calendar in there. Remember, one of the biggest things that did happen was the issue of hooliganism, most notably in Arua. It's always an often thing that happens actually in the games here in Arua. But I don't know whether it will be the same trend that will be actually taking place in the Jumani. But I hope the security in the Jumani, the organizers, should try to harmonize some of these things and see that issues of hooliganism is kind of minimized at this level. This is not a level whereby you're supposed to show discipline to yourself. So if you don't show discipline to yourself, definitely you'll be nothing at this level. We shall be following that one closely and as well keep our viewers updated with the latest information happening down in Jumani. Remember, Sara Rights TV is always here to give you authentic information. We shall never let you down with the information. Information that comes in, we shall always give you that actually at the right time. Let's talk about the primary school games a little bit. Remember, they're kind of starting very soon in here. Sara Rights TV will actually bring for you some of the live coverages of some of the biggest games that will be taking place here. Most notably, some of the biggest schools in Arua City that will be taking place actually in this competition. Schools like Brightview, schools like different boys, schools like you could talk about Wasis, schools like Ochiba Primary, schools like Arua Hill. All these schools we shall be bringing for them, for you, some of the biggest games live here on the TV to see that you are catered for and you watch the talent that we have got in West Nile. Remember, there's so many actually young players who are kind of here in West Nile. So all these players need a sponsor. Remember, Olema Hamza was once upon a time here with me actually in the studios, and we were talking about the academy setup that he's having actually in West Nile, and to see that talent is developed, and he wants these players to play professional actual football. He doesn't want them to play semi-professional football. So this is not the right time to see that we shall be broadcasting for you some of these games live here on Sara Rights TV. Remember, the show is always sponsored by Byte Designs. For your graphic designs, for your secretarial needs, for your teacher designs, always visit Byte Designs. There you'll be good to go. And Sabiri Rama Global Ventures Limited is also there for your services that actually you need. They are the proud sponsors of this particular show. You can as well come in and give us your support. You can come in and support any show actually at Sara Rights TV. We do have a number of shows here. We do have what we call the Youth Zone. We do have the Doctor's Talk. We do have the Sara Rights section. A lot of I mean, so many actual programs right here at Sara Rights TV. You can even come in and sponsor the sports show. We shall be actually privileged to see that you are catered for with every information in the world of sports. In there, let's actually leave that at that, and we talk about the development that are happening at SC Villa. I remember yesterday we did tell you that SC Villa are about to appoint a new coach. Remember, a week ago they did actually announce that they have got a new tactician in the names of we thought he came to Uganda, but it was kind of reported that it was kind of a photo shoot that Team SC Villa kind of actually aired out to the media, and the media caught the attention and thought that this was the reality. But the point, but the reality is that was what we call one of the unforced sins that SC Villa has done. We thought a giant club in Ghana football with 17 trophies to his name can't do such kind of unprofessionalism kind of setup. Unveiling someone who is not willing to take part for you is kind of uncalled for. By rights, SC Villa is supposed to compensate militias in there. Remember, SC Villa at the record time is in Ghana football, so we thought they have got all the rights and all the sponsors to see that they go authentically. They don't go things kwara kwara. You understand? Going kwara kwara means you are kind of unprofessional. SC Villa, with the setup that they have, I thought the CEO Omar Mantella is one of the biggest CEOs that we have got in Ghana football, who runs things actually effectively. But the SC Villa took a decision by unveiling someone whom was not willing to help them. The kind of terms were not clearly signed, so they only did a photo shoot. But the biggest story coming up this evening in the case that the SC Villa have got in another Serbian in the names of Kovacevic. This is someone that, according to SC Villa, has got a rich history, a very rich history in football. He has been a player before. He has been mostly playing his actual career in Serbia. He's a defender actually by his profession. But he comes in this team of SC Villa with a lot of expectations in there. Remember, the Serbians that to come actually in that team of SC Villa normal wins for them trophies. Are we seeing Kovacevic come into this team of SC Villa with a lot of the expectation that the SC Villa hierarchy will be demanding for him? And remember, they're saying that they'll be working tooth and nail to see that all the best is handed over to him. I think SC Villa, with all these setups and the information they're giving us, it clearly tells us that they're ready to spend in the transfer market to see that this man lives longer in Ugandan football. We have seen Serbian coaches here actually working so nice with SC Villa. Mitchell was at one point working with them. He won for them around 3 trophies. Dusan Vlahovic was there. A number of them. But SC Villa. But I think this move comes at a time when the Southern Uganda Premier League is set to start actually on 26th of September, tentatively. That's what FIFA has given us, tentatively. But I think this coach will have enough time to see that he prepares himself with SC Villa. Remember, SC Villa has got a number of players who have been called up to the national team of Uganda to play Chan in there. So we have to see whether SC Villa will be thriving very well with this Serbian coach that they have got at their disposal right now. Let's leave it at that, then we talk about the clubs that actually did participate in Africa in what we call the FIFA Club World Cup in there. A number of them came with the Bamba Manes. That's the reality. Much as they didn't actually go past the group stages in there, these teams actually did come back to Africa with what we call Bamba Man in there. One of the teams that actually represented us so well in USA was Al Ahly of Egypt. Remember, they were in the group with teams like Palmeiras, with teams like FC Porto, with teams like Inter Miami. Remember, team Al Hilal of Egypt, one of the giant teams actually in Africa, and the team has won the CAF Champions League of Africa a couple of times in there. But I think their performance as, at the FIFA World Cup was not kind of all that bad. They had one of the biggest actually upsets in there. Remember, this is a team that played 0-0 with Inter Miami, a team that have got a lot of superstars who are kind of aged up. We have a player in the name of Lionel Messi is into that team. We have got players like Busquets, Alaba, all these players, they're in the team of Inter Miami. But Al side kind of tried to contain them, played a 0-0 with them. We have Palmeiras that did beat them by 2-0. The biggest actually thing that team Al of Egypt did put was against FC Porto. Remember, they did play actually a 4-4 draw with FC Porto. Remember, this earns them a bumper amount of money. I don't know if you have the calculator there with you. The money that team Al Hilal of Egypt actually got from the FIFA Club World Cup is around 11.55 US dollars. So if you convert this money into Ghana shillings, it's a bumper money, around 51.09 billion Uganda shillings. So just look at this money. What will team Al Hilal of Team Egypt do with this money? This is a money that I think the players need to be catered for. The players who went into, for this game need to be paid their arrears. You remember, the weather down in USA was kind of very hot in there. These players need to be catered for. I think it's now high time that the FIFA itself has kind of invested a lot in the game of football. We've seen the FIFA president in Infantino much as a number of people have been criticized naturally this tournament regarding as the worst idea in the game of football. But the reality is there's a lot of money actually in this game. Team Al Hilal banging that amount of money is a huge one. Then the next team that actually represented us so well in that competition was Esperance of Team Tunis. Remember, they did put one of the biggest performances in that team. Remember, much as they were walloped by Chelsea Football Club. Remember, Chelsea Football Club plays in England. That exposure is always there. So they have that superiority complex actually over Esperance of Tunis. Remember, Team Esperance has been actually doing tremendous actually in African football. They did beat Team Los Angeles by a 1-0. That's the only win that they pick in the FIFA Club World Cup. Remember, Flamengo did beat them by 2-0, and like I said, they did beat Los Angeles by a 1-0 in there. And then Chelsea Football Club did beat them by 3-0. So their prize money for this competition is as well the same like team Al Hilal of Egypt. They got 11.55 million pounds. That's US dollars in there. That's what they got. And then the other team that are kind of represented us badly, so badly. They never picked any win. They never picked any draw. Was Wydad Casablanca of Morocco. We thought this could be a team with the structures that Morocco has got in African football. Remember, Vieira has been actually one of the headliners in African football. Morocco has got Vieira actually at their level. But Team Wydad Casablanca, same years, by not being even a draw, not even a win. So embarrassing. But they banked around 9.55 US dollars. So this is another huge amount of money that team actually Wydad Casablanca got in there. Remember, let me take you through actually the game that they played in the group stages. Remember, Manchester City, one of the historic actually clubs actually in Europe. They kind of actually thought to be one of the best clubs in Europe right now. But unfortunately, the team has been ejected by a team that plays in a league that you may kind of think that it's not highly rated by Al Hilal of Saudi Pro League. They were ejected yesterday by a goal margin of 4-3. after extra time. That's Manchester City for you. But let me take you through the team that Wydad Casablanca played against. They played against Manchester City. They were beaten 2-0. Juventus did beat them by 4-1. Then Wydad Casablanca lost 2-1 to Al Ain. So the money that they got was 9.55 US dollars in there. That's in millions. So it's a very huge amount of money. So the team that actually got the better of the shares was Team Mamelodi Sundowns. They were the powerhouse in the South African League. They won the the league a couple of times. Remember, our own legendary Ghana goalkeeper in the name of Dennis Mashindo Nango plays in the team of Mamelodi Sundowns in there. So, in their first game in the group series, the team managed to beat a team in the name of Uslan by a goal to nil. Borussia Dortmund did beat them by 4 goals to 3. Then Mamelodi Sundowns played 0-0 with Fluminense, a team that eliminated Inter Milan. Here we need to give credit to Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the biggest clubs in Africa. So I'm totally proud of them. I have been a big fan of them. I've been following them so closely in there. I think much more credit needs to be given to the head coach in there. I think he has done a very tremendous work. He has failed not to disappoint us. He goes into the to the tournament scoring 3 goals against a team in the name of Borussia Dortmund. I think that has got a lot of superstars. To me, that's kind of a commenting for a team in the name of Mamelodi Sundowns. So the money that they got was around 12.55 US dollars. So if you convert all these monies, it's a bummer money. So if you look at the money that general teams from Africa got from this tournament, it's kind of not a very small amount of money. Is if you combine all the monies that these teams get from the FIFA Club World Cup, you realize that the teams got around Ghana shillings 162 billion. This is a very huge amount of money. Without teams like KCCA, without teams like AC Villa, if they were to be at the top of their game, teams like Vipers, if they were to be at the top of their game, this amount of money could do something very much actually better for them. We could see a lot of stadiums being built here in Uganda, but unfortunately, it's not the case with what we call teams playing their trade here in Uganda in here. So unfortunately in there. Let's talk transfers. Let's leave that at that and let's talk transfers. One of the biggest stories making headlines actually this afternoon is that Arsenal Football Club has officially completed the signing of Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga. Arsenal plays Chelsea Football Club £5 million. Arsenal Football Club, I think, the team that looks so much ambitious in there with the signings that they're having. They have got a player in the names of Kepa Arrizabalaga already into their books. Martin Zubimendi actually is one of the players that is coming so soon for his medicals with the team. They have signed Brentford's actually Nogado already. One of the biggest actually stories that comes from Team Arsenal Football Club is official that Thomas Partey is quitting the team. He's leaving Arsenal Football Club. Remember, his contract got actually over with Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal, he was kind of demanded a very huge amount of money from the team Arsenal Football Club. Remember, Arsenal was willing to give him a contract, but the reality is Thomas Partey, I think he's having better offers somewhere. He is demanding Arsenal a very huge amount of money. So Arsenal was not unwilling to give him that amount of money. That's the reason as to why they opted to terminate his contract, not to renew his contract in that regard. So Thomas Partey finally has left Arsenal Football Club. Remember, Zinchenko has left the team. We have got Kellen Tini has left the club. So sad in there, but Arsenal Football Club actually is into the market, and they're looking into a number of players that they think that they could come in and they'll be of a great influence. So Jorginho as well left them. So since Jorginho left them, they signed in Martin Zubimendi. They signed in Norgard as a direct request for these actual 2 players. So their main priority per now is Arsenal is looking at signing what we call strikers actually at this point of time. Remember, Arsenal Football Club needs strikers, and they need actually attackers actually to see that their team is much boosted in there. Remember, Bukayo Saka. Has been the player who has been actually making headlines for team Arsenal for a number of games. Gabriel Martinelli, with his style of play, remember he loves running actually fetching the ball. He doesn't want to look left and right to see that who's open for him the spaces to pass the ball. His runs are always meaningless to me. That's Gabriel Martinelli for you. But I think Arsenal Football Club their priority right now is to see that they boost the squad. To see that they have got a number of players actually. They have got at their front third. The strikers that they're talking about include Hugo Ekitike of Eintracht Frankfurt, who banked around 15 goals in German Bundesliga last season. They talked about Oli Watkins. They talked about Benjamin Sesko, who RB Leipzig did put a very huge amount of money, £70 million for his services. But I think this is a player that Mikel Arteta so much fancies, and he was willing to play with him. And Arsenal Sporting Director Andrea Bata prefers a different person. So there's a lot of contradictions in the team of Arsenal Football Club. Remember, all these players, if they are to come into Arsenal, they can still play for team Arsenal Football Club. But remember, Arsenal Football Club has got a number of games to play. If they are to be the sporting director of Arsenal Football Club, if I'm to be the CEO of Arsenal Football Club, I'll go to the bank, withdraw a very huge sum of money, around £200 million, give to Mikel Arteta, go into the market, sign a prolific striker in the names of Victor Gyökeres, who has been doing a tremendous work with Sporting CP, banking a number of goals actually in the Champions League. He was scored a thunderbolt, a goal against the Manchester City. That clearly tells that he's not more of an exposed striker. So I think right now in Europe, such kind of strikers are kind of limited. So I think if Arsenal Football Club goes for a striker in the names of Victor Gyökeres, he can add value to the team of Arsenal Football Club. Remember, Kai Havertz is not a national number 9. He's not actually scoring the goals for team Arsenal Football Club in there. And remember, at one point, Arsenal fans did say that they will kill his son. And Kai Havertz's wife was not really happy to see that Arsenal fans are reacting in that regard, because he was not firing goals for fun. He was wasting chances over chances. Out of 3 chances, always 5, Kai Havertz can score for 2 goals. But Victor Gyökeres will come in and after 5 can score for 3. That's Victor Gyökeres for you. Then Benjamin Sesko, Matis is still very young, at around 22, 23 years. If he comes in the team of Arsenal Football Club, I think he will be having a lot to learn. Remember, Mikel Arteta is one coach who wants to work with young players. He's one guy who loves to give actually authority, that chance for young players to expose themselves. By the time when Mikel Arteta came at Arsenal Football Club, remember how he nurtured Bukayo Saka, and then how he nurtured the likes of Gabriel Martinelli, how he nurtured the likes of Ethan Nwari. That clearly tells you that he's doing a tremendous work. That's Mikel Arteta for you. So I'm looking at him. If he at all he signs the player that he wants, that's Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko can work well with Mikel Arteta. But if Arsenal Football Club wants a short-term target, the only solution is a player in the names of Victor Gyökeres. But if they are going for a long-term project, so the right person is Benjamin Sesko. That's my observation and analysis about all those actual players in there. But they've been linked with a number of players in there actually at the front line. One of the latest is about Nico Williams. They talked about him. They talked about Rodrigo of Team Real Madrid. But I think with the current transition that Xabi Alonso is having at Real Madrid, I don't think that Real Madrid will be in position to see that this guy leaves them and comes to Arsenal Football Club. I think at Arsenal Football Club, he'll not be having much of the playing time in there due to a number of stars in there. Remember, Kai Havertz, Mikel that allows actually him so much. We never know. He may play him actually in that number 10 role. Then Martin Odegaard. Remember, Martin Odegaard in that number 10 role, he's supposed to have opportunities. Matches, he's always very creative, yes. But at some point, you realize that there are areas whereby you respect a player in the names of Martin Odegaard to find the back of the net. But he's not doing that. Instead of giving it to someone, sometimes you find him making dilemmas here and there. Around the 16 area, you're supposed to, once you have the space, you're supposed to shoot. And that has been one of the biggest challenges that I think Mikel Arteta needs to, ionize in there. But Arsenal, like I said, they've been actually talking about a number of players. They talked about Brett Eze of Crystal Palace. They talked about a player in the names of Anthony Semenyo of Bournemouth in there. One of the actual super rising stars in the Premier League so far last season. Then they talked about Abdullah Lukman of Team Atalanta BC down in Italy. Remember, by the time when he was playing at RB Leipzig, he was kind of doing a tremendous work. And for the last 4 seasons at Atalanta, he has never actually lived to the he has lived to the billing, and he has never disappointed. Remember, he had 1 or 2 issues with the already left actual coach in the names of Gasperini, but I think he has kind of told the Atalanta hierarchy that he needs another defender. So Arsenal Football Club needs his services. I think if he comes in, he may be actually playing very, very well in there with Bukayo Saka. Remember, Bukayo Saka with the Nigerian origin. I think he could be adding some value into that team of Arsenal Football Club in there. Let's leave Arsenal and we'll talk about Lamine Yamal. Remember, he'll be turning, his birthday is coming very soon. Lamine Yamal is 19 years old currently. He'll be turning into another year. Barcelona Football Club did give him a lot of actually big actual opportunities out in their team. They did give him the responsibility of taking free kicks. They did give him the responsibility of taking penalties actually at Barcelona Football Club, which to me I think is one of the biggest things for youngster in the names of Yamal. By the time when he'll be he'll be making another year on 13th actually of July. It will be one of the biggest things for a player in the names of Lamine Yamal, who wants to actually lead the footsteps of Lionel Messi at the Barcelona Football Club. So I think with all the responsibilities that Barcelona has given him, they are now willing to give him the set number. Remember, he was done in that number 19 at the Barcelona Football Club. Now, Barcelona wants to give him that number, that's number 10. That's number 10. A player in the names of Lamine Yamal. That number 10 has been won at the Barcelona Football Club by a number of iconic players. One of the notable players is Lionel Messi. He did put on that, and he did put one of the best actual performances for Team Barcelona Football Club. No doubt about that. And the current generation want to follow the footsteps of Lionel Messi. I think Lamine Yamal is one of them. Much as Rafinha is into the mix, but I think Hans Flick's project is trying to work in. But he's trying to give Yamal a bigger project to see that he drives this team of he carries the team of Barcelona Football Club at his back to see that this is the perfect opportunity. Remember, Lamine Yamal is a Spaniard, so being a Spaniard gives him that platform to see that he'll be given that much respect. But the worst thing is, by now, Team Barcelona Football and Hans Flick should not give him the captain armbands at this point of time. Remember, he's still very young. He's still developing. to me. But the priority for team Barcelona Football Club is to see that this guy keeps the consistency. He keeps taking Barcelona to the next level. He keeps winning trophies with Barcelona Football Club. And remember, they were ejected painfully by Team Atletico, by Team Inter Milan in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League, which was quite interesting in there. Lamine Yamal putting up a very big performances in there. This is a player whom to me, deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. This is Lamine Yamal for you. To me, he deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. With what kind of thing that he has done, so sensational thing that at his age he has done with the Barcelona Football Club. So I'm looking at him winning Ballon d'Or. So soon. I remember players like Cristiano Ronaldo, they're at their climax. Lionel Messi is at their climax. Ellen Brown Haaland is struggling with the Manchester City currently. I don't think he will be important to win the Ballon d'Or. Kylian Mbappe with Team Real Madrid. In his first season, he struggled. Then Julian Alvarez at the team Atletico Madrid. Looking at all these kind of young stars, the Pele at the PSG. Just compare these young stars currently in European football. Lamine Yamal currently deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. To me, in there. So the number of players that Barcelona Football Club has been linked to. One of them is Nico Williams. It's like the deal might happen on Barcelona way because the player's priority is to play for Barcelona Football Club. But for team Atletico Bilbao, they don't want to sell Nico Williams to a rival club like Barcelona. So they're looking at offloading him away to a team like Bayern Munich. So Nico Williams did say that he wants to play for a club in the names of Barcelona Football Club, and he wants to play with the current actual generation that Barcelona has got at their disposal. I think if he comes into that team with the performances that Yamal and Nico Williams did put for Spain, I think it will work out very well for Hans Flick's side. That's Barcelona Football Club. I think Barcelona Football Club will be a team to watch in case that deal goes in there. One of the biggest stories making headlines this evening is about Kylian Mbappe. Remember, he has been so done for Team Real Madrid in the FIFA Club World Cup. He'll be available in the game against Juventus that the team will be playing in there. So, to me, Real Madrid has got all what it takes. Remember, this is a game that has got a lot of superstars in there. Real Madrid up against Juventus is a huge game to play actually in the round of 16. So the team that wins here will be having an opportunity to play in the quarterfinals in there. So Real Madrid have got a superior actually advantage over Team Juventus. Remember, Team Juventus has been so inconsistent actually in Italian Serie A. Remember, they did fall adrift of Team Napoli actually by a number of points that Napoli were crowned champions. So actually down in Serie A. At the same time, Team Real Madrid also were fall short by Team Barcelona Football Club. Remember, Barcelona were crowned the champions in Spanish La Liga in there. So looking at this team of Real Madrid, they have got a unique kind of setup with Xabi Alonso coming in. He loves playing back three. That's the unique thing with Xabi Alonso. He plays 3-5-3 formation, which is kind of very unique in there. But the team has been picking up actually unique actual performances in there. The team did have a 5-0 win. They did have a 4-1 win, 5-2 win. So I think Real Madrid, there will be a team to watch. Everyone should be keenly following this team of Real Madrid that has got a lot of superstars. You have players like Vinicius Jr., who has not kind of impressed me at all in this actual in this back three setup of Xabi Alonso. Remember, he last playing 3-5-2 formation. That's Xabi Alonso for you. So at Barcelona, with Real Madrid, with Antonio Rudiger, Aurelio Tchouameni, and Dino Hutchinson, I think that back line has been so tremendous in there with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Frank Garcia being the back. Being the wing back for Team Real Madrid. I think they're doing actually incredibly well. Ever since a player in the name of Trent Alexander-Arnold crossed over to Team Real Madrid, he has have one of the biggest actual statistics that he has got with the Team Real Madrid. He has got one of the biggest crosses, one of the biggest interceptions, one of the biggest runs so far in the FIFA Club World Cup for Real Madrid than any other player in the team of Real Madrid. So I think his presence in the team of Real Madrid actually is one of the biggest things to me. He'll be a player to watch in there. And then Jude Bellingham has never impressed me for Team Real Madrid in there. So I think it's going to be one of the biggest games to watch. And Team Juventus, when they set up 3-4-3 formation, players to watch in this game, you have to Ram. You'll be one of the players to watch. Colomwani is one of the players to watch in the team of Team Juventus in there. You have Costa. Watch out for this game. But if you ask my opinion about my prediction for this game, I would say that Real Madrid will be having an upper hand into this game. Remember, they're the record champions of this competition. Remember, they've won a couple of times. So I'm giving it to Xavi Alonso's side. So a team that is under transition, that's Xavi Alonso for you. I think he'll be doing tremendously, very well in there in the FIFA Club World Cup. One of the games that will be coming up actually is a game that will be between team. That's team Borussia Dortmund up against FC Montreal of US. Big game to watch. Remember, Dan Gittens has left Team Borussia Dortmund and he will not be playing for them. He has crossed over to Chelsea Football Club. He had his medicals today. He will be one of the players who will be missing for him in there. And let's leave it that and we'll talk about Manchester City. Remember, they were walloped by underdogs. I should say underdogs. That's a team in the names of Al Hilal. They were beaten after extra time by 4-3. So embarrassing for a team that has spent around 150 euros in the recent open transfer window. That's Pep Guardiola for you. But Pep Guardiola insists that his team did tremendous in the competition, and they really wanted to stay in the league, but due to other factors. Remember, this team of Manchester City was not clinical enough. At first half, they should have scored 2 or 3 more clinical goals. Savino had one of the biggest actual opportunities. He did mess up that. And then one of the players who did actually mess for them was Bernardo Silva. I think Manchester City side, much as they had got players that they signed in, I think they are still under transition under Pep Guardiola. So I think there's still a lot that Pep Guardiola needs to do. He did say that his team, to him, will be suffering a lot in there. Remember, Rodri has got another injury setback for Manchester City.
It appears you're observing something about Pep Guardiola.
When will he come back again? When will he come back for Manchester City? If at all he comes back, will he be that player who will be driving Manchester City forward? Remember, his absence kind of affected Manchester City last season in the Premier League badly. They signed a player in the names of Goncalves. Yes. But this is a player whom I think will come in and adapt still in English football. They signed in a player in the names of Teenagers, a youngster, one of the upcoming youngsters that we shall be watching closely in there. But will they be that type of player who will be driving Manchester City forward? I think no. So Manchester City should be keen. Much as they have added a number of players to the system. And remember, Pep Guardiola is a coach who doesn't want players to be so much authoritative to him. We did see him let go a number of players. One of the players who he started to be leaving is Jack Grealish. Remember, he thinks that Jack Grealish is becoming long-handed with him. He wants him to quit. So, a Jack Grealish team side, who has been one of the players to watch in the English football, with Aston Villa, he had a good season before Manchester City signed him. Pep Guardiola gave him 2 seasons. He impressed. But right now, Pep Guardiola thinks that he's not the type of player that he needs. That's why he's kind of trying to let him go. Then he did go. He did let off a player in the names of Kevin De Bruyne leave. A player who has been with them, a player who has been supplying Erling Braut Haaland actually with their goals. So the supply is kind of cut off for Erling Braut Haaland. He's not scoring the goals, those goals. So to me, Pep Guardiola side will struggle in the English Premier League with the fact that they were ejected from the preceding tournament with the biggest amount of money that they thought they were the favorites. They were the pre-favorites to win the FIFA Club World Cup after with the signings that they have. You remember, Real Madrid is not a team that you may bank on. Much as the record the winners of this tournament. Manchester City, we thought with the flexibility, with the dynamics of the players, and with the technicality of Pep Guardiola, I thought he was going to be the favorite to win this. But unfortunately, they were eliminated. So embarrassing for Pep Guardiola's side. And again, Rodri got an injury for him. So sad in there. And let's leave that and then I'll talk about Manchester United. One of the biggest stories making headlines at Manchester United is the Bryan Mbeumo deal. It's like, before this week ends, Manchester United may confirm Bryan Mbeumo, their second signing to Matthias Cunha. Remember, Manchester United submitted a bid of around £62.5 million, rejected by Brentford. So Brentford wanted around £63 million. So, according to the stories that I was getting, it is kind of imminent that the player is coming to Manchester United. He will no longer join his actual former coach, Thomas Frank, at a club in the names of Spurs that will be playing in the Champions League. Remember, Matheus Cunha did say that he wants to play for Manchester United. Remember, every player wants to play for that team of Manchester United. Remember, Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs in Europe. You could talk about Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Arsenal. These are clubs that every player will love to play for. So that's an opportunity. And in one of the interviews, he did say that Amorim have got a unique idea of signing him. And at the same time, Matheus Cunha did say that Ruben Amorim knows the idea better. So, with his coming in, I think he'll be a good one for Manchester United. That's Bryan Mbeumo. He scored around 20 goals in the Premier League. He has been a consistent actual performer for Team Brentford in the last 2 seasons. So, to me, if he comes into the team of Manchester United, the number of players that will definitely be affected. One of them is Amad Diallo to me. Amad Diallo, where he's coming in, Amad Diallo will be having... It's like Amad Diallo will be dropping back to play as a wing back for Manchester United. Because Bryan Mbeumo will be given that actual opportunity to play out front in there. So, we've seen Manchester United out front, they have not been thriving very well. It was only Amad Diallo who was kind of scoring those other important goals for them. When he got that injury, Manchester United were kind of struggling. So, we have to see how Amorim will be using a player in the names of Bryan Mbeumo at Manchester United. I think Bryan Mbeumo is kind of used to the back three that Thomas Frank was playing with him at Brentford. So at the same time at Manchester United, Amorim is playing back three. So I think He understood that, and he knows when we were playing with the back three, how workaholic we are supposed to be. And Amorim is looking at that kind of players who are kind of workaholic, who runs 90 minutes throughout their pace. They can't get too tired. Players that are not injury prone. That's what Ruben Amorim is looking at. Let's leave it at that and that. And before we leave it that, let's talk about Marcus Rashford. The latest information that is coming indicates that there are matches Marcus Rashford wanted to play for Barcelona Football Club. Juventus were interested in his services. Then the latest club interested in his services is Bayern Munich. So I think would let us send a lead in the team Bayern Munich this summer. Marcus Rashford, to me, if he goes in, he'll be having that playing time at team Bayern Munich. Remember, the other links that the team Bayern are actually interested in, they talked about a player in the names of Luis Diaz of Team Liverpool. So they made a priority. It's not Rashford, but that link has been there already. So we never know. Anything can still happen. Let's talk about Liverpool. The story coming up from Liverpool is that they're almost finalizing the deal of Crystal Palace centre back. I'm talking about Mark Guehi, who has been a consistent player, a consistent performer for team Crystal Palace for the last 4 seasons. That's Mark Guehi for you. Remember, by the time when Jurgen Klopp signed Virgil van Dijk, remember he was doing extremely very well at Southampton, extremely very well in there. So with Mark Guehi also coming into the mix, so I think Ancelotti has got a purpose, and his purpose is to defend the trophy again. Then looking at the signing that he has got actually at his disposal so far, he has got 2 players already into the mix. They have got 3 players already into the mix. They have got Franowitz that they signed expensively from Bayer Leverkusen. They have got a player in the names of Jeremy Frimpong that they signed to be the direct replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was crossed over. Then they signed in a player in the names of Minor Crackers from Team Bournemouth as a substitute player, but the priority is he's coming to play regularly for team Liverpool. Remember, Robertson is kind of getting age. He's already 31 years. So I think Liverpool is looking at a future project that in case Robertson leaves, then definitely a player in the names of Milos Crackers will be stepping in and will be doing a tremendous work out with them in there. The story that I would like to actually pay attention to is all about the aspiration of signing a striker. The striker that they're talking about a striker in the names of Hugo Ekitike, the Frenchman who plays for Eintracht Frankfurt, who banked around 15 goals last season for team Eintracht Frankfurt in the German Bundesliga. He had 18 performances for them. He's good on one-on-one. He's very physical, good aerially. So I think with the surprise that Liverpool have, he's not only a pace player. I think he'll be adapting so quick. What the Liverpool look out to the pressing style of football, he'll be adapting so quick in there. So I think that's their major priority. Don't be surprised to see Hugo Ekitike come into Liverpool. Remember, they are willing to sell away Darren Núñez to a team in the names of Napoli, who are much impressed in his services. So I think selling a player in the names of Darren Núñez, then bringing in a player in the names of Hugo Ekitike makes sense to me. The football currently needs modern strikers. One of them is Hugo Ekitike. One of them is Benjamin Sesko. You could talk about Victor Gyökeres. Many people talk about Victor Osimhen, but to me, Victor Osimhen is not a modern type of striker. Matis has not got that physique, but technically, out of chances, he may score for you too. Not a Victor Osimhen for you. But Victor Osimhen will play very well in a team that plays a back three, whereby the striker actually will come in and open the space after having the ball, keep the ball actually on his feet, look for spaces to pass the ball to see that other players coming to score. So with all these actual setups, so I think the perfect one for Liverpool should be a player in the names of Hugo Ekitike, who they are much interested in his services. Viewers, thanks so much for sticking so much actually with Sara Rights TV. It has been actually one of the biggest times actually being with you from the hour of 6 to 7 p.m. This has been the evening sports desk, where we give you exclusive analysis in the world of sports in there. Remember, in the case of any business actual adverts, you can always welcome to Sara Rights TV. The number to call is always very open: 0393 228209. Remember to call this number, you will be sorted. We are always 24/7 open, and we shall be important to give you the best of our services here. Remember, this sports show has been sponsored by Sabirama Global Actual Events Limited in there, one of the biggest companies actually that we have got in West Nile, and Byte Designs that gives you the best actual designs in the world of ICT, in the world of graphics in there, website designing, and secretarial service and digital printing. We are always there to see that your catered for Byte Designs is located around Smarts. You can always come in, then you will be sorted, and we are always much humble. Let's catch up again tomorrow, same time, same show, and the same actual host in there. My name is Gero, the host of the show. Thanks so much for being part of the show with Sara Rights TV. It's always a pleasure being with you.